Hello, this is Required Fields, and in this video I'm going to discuss some of the albums I've been spinning lately. I know it's been a while since I filmed any YouTube videos, but because some stuff going on in my personal life. My dad has been in the hospital for the last couple of months, bedridden for nearly pretty much the whole time, and started making some progress lately, but he was bedridden for over a month. When he first got sent there in late February, and now it's April and he still hasn't left, but anyways, and some work-related stuff, so I've been away for a while, but now I'm back, and I was going to do another installment of What's Been Spinning. Let's see, this is Overkill, and this is their newest album, so Wings of War, and this album was a couple months back, and this continues the high quality of metal that Overkill puts out. If you like their last few albums, you like this one as well. It's it continues to be the same style. The best track on here, in my opinion, is the opener, Last Man Standing, which may be the best metal song so far this year, but you know, that can change very easily because it's still pretty early on in the year, and some there's more albums I'm anticipating are coming out this year. But yep, this is just Overkill is an incredibly dependable band, and you can rely on them if you want to have good metal, and this is yet another one of their this is another fine addition to their catalog, Overkill, The Wings of War. This is Malaya Rage, and this is their album Solitary Solitude, and this was released back in 1990, and they're considered to be U.S. power metal in the vein of bands like Metal Church, so they sometimes get called a thrash metal band. It's largely on the basis of this album, because there are a lot of 80s Metallica sounding parts to it. Even if you don't agree with the thrash metal label, you can definitely hear where it comes from. Anyways, the best tracks on Solitary Solitude are the title track, which opens it, The Witching, which is the sound off the music video that was just a single for Lost Life, and then there's the epic closing track, Razor Ribbon, which is simply awesome. And they also included a bonus here, the band's EP Live Kill, which is recorded in between the band's debut album, Kill to Survive, and this sophomore album, which is this one, Solitary Solitude. What's particularly strange about Live Kill, though, is the song Kill to Survive is not, which was recorded for the album Kill to Survive, was not included on it because the record label deemed the lyrics to be too graphically violent. But strangely enough, when they recorded it, when they released Live Kill a year later, the Kill to Survive was one of the songs they performed on it, and they didn't have any objection to it then, which is a little bit strange. Although the song Kill to Survive does appear in a Japanese version of the album, however, but still a little bit strange. Although there is a bit of a reference to the censorship of the censorship that's in the video to The Witching, which is a song on Solitary Solitude that was a single, and there's references to censorship, presumably a reference to the title track off Kill to Survive being left off the album by the label. But anyways, this is a really solid release, Solitary Solitude by Malaya Rage, and it's their best album they ever did. They've released many albums, and this is definitely their best in my book. This is Acridity, and this is their album For Freedom I Cry. This is one of those one and done bands. This is their only studio album that they ever released, and then they actually it was recorded in 1989, and some of the band members were as young as 15 years old when it was recorded, and it is it's thrash metal in the vein of 1980s Metallica. You can hear as a reference point, absolutely. And anyways, they did release this one album, and this is a deluxe edition of For Freedom I Cry. Includes the 9 original tracks that are on it, plus a song that was recorded for compilation, Whisper of Reality, off of a 1990 compilation disc. And they started working on a second album, but they felt that their sound had been deviating way too much from the original Acridity vision, so they renamed themselves the Gaia Convention briefly, around 1991 or 1992 or so, before disbanded in 1993. And an interesting bit of trivia, in 1993, in the movie Dazed and Confused, Anthony Padone is apparently an extra in that movie. It's a bit of interesting trivia about this band. But yes, this is Acridity, For Freedom I Cry, a very enjoyable, obscure melodic thrash metal release in the vein of 1980s Metallica. Definitely worth checking out if you like the melodic thrash metal sound. And on a more extreme end of the thrash metal spectrum, this is Demolition Hammer, Epidemic of Violence. Thrash metal doesn't get much more brutal than this. And anyways, this is the second Demolition Hammer album. I think I prefer the debut, Tortured Existence, but Epidemic of Violence is an awesome follow-up. It has better production values than the debut did, and this 1992 thrash metal release, when this genre is kind of dying out and being replaced, you know, in terms of the genres of the metal underground, it's kind of being replaced by death metal and black metal, and even though a little bit more on a slightly more well-known note, also the groove metal movement, such or post-thrash, as some people call it. Pantera was becoming extremely popular. I know they're not an underground band exactly, Pantera, but there are plenty of bands that, you know, were trying to go down the path of Pantera or Machine Head, who came out a couple of years later as well. But yeah, thrash metal is kind of you know, disappearing in terms of a metal genre in around 1992 or so. But this awesome release shows up as one of the best in the of that time where the genre was kind of starting to disappear. But this was an excellent release that should not be overlooked. It's definitely one of the more remembered early 1990s thrash metal albums for good reason. Anyways, my favorite tracks on this release would be the opening track, Skull Fracture Nightmare, which interestingly was the name of a demo they had prior to this, but the song Skull Fracture Nightmare was not on it. It didn't come out until later. And other really awesome tracks in here are Human Dissection, Omnivore, and the title track. But anyways, this is an excellent release. If you like the more extreme side of thrash metal, please make sure you have this album. It's, excellent stuff. And lastly, this is Chemical Breath, Fatal Exposure. Now, this it was the first of the two albums by Chemical Breath, released in 1992. It's very comparable to early 90s era Death. This is their first release, Fatal Exposure. Released one more album called Values in 1994 before disbanding. And anyways, this album was extremely rare and went for well over $200 on eBay and Discogs. And it finally got reissued a few months ago, and better late than never. I'm so glad that a physical copy of this album exists now, and it was and when it came out, I had to get it because after hearing it, I was like, man, I love this stuff, and I was really hoping a physical release would come about for this album. When I heard it, you know, around the time I was getting into it, that they were planning on a reissue, and it finally came out a few months back. And better late than never. Get this release if you like the technical progressive death metal that Death kind of went in the early 1990s. Albums like Spiritual Healing and Human. This is very much in that style, and fans of that type of death metal should love this. And Values is a good release too, but and I heard that they're going to be reissuing that real soon. I definitely plan on getting that one when it gets reissued. And anyways, those were some of the albums I've been spinning as of late. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And anyways, this is Required Field signing off. It's good to be back on YouTube. And goodbye.